often give White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki a lot of credit. In fact, I feel like the liberal press is too in love with her. It drives me a little bit crazy. However, she did handle a question from conservative reporter Peter Doocy really well. And it had to do with the number of COVID deaths under the Biden administration versus the Trump administration. This is the latest talking point from the right wing, and I think she handled it pretty well. So let's watch.
In 2020, when roughly 220,000 Americans had already died of COVID, Joe Biden said about Trump, anyone who is responsible for that many deaths should not remain as president of the United States of America. Is that still the standard now that more Americans have died under President Biden than President Trump?
Well, I think the fundamental question here is, what are you doing to save lives and protect people? And the former president was suggesting people inject bleach.
Right, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs.
He apparently, reportedly, didn't even share with people he was going to interact with that he had tested positive for COVID himself.
We learn also from what The Guardian is reporting about Mark Meadows' book that Trump was actually symptomatic, right? Throughout this whole process, as early as September 26, he was a little tired. They suspected he had a little cold. And this went on for days, obviously, until we found out many days later that he was positive.
He continued to provide a forum for misinformation, which probably led to people not taking steps forward to protect themselves, to wear a mask, to eventually get vaccinated.
Supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light. And I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting.
This president has made the vaccine widely available. He's relied on the advice of his health and medical experts, and he is trying to be a part of solving this crisis, getting the pandemic under control. And I think there's a pretty stark difference between their approaches.
And there is a stark difference between their approaches. And we should talk about COVID deaths under Trump versus under Biden, because the talking point isn't accurate. Wow, what a shocker. Let me just quickly give you the numbers, Cenk. Thus far, according to data from the CDC, Biden has presided over about 353,000 deaths in little over 10 months, compared to about 425,000 deaths for Trump in his final 10 plus months. So there have still been fewer deaths under Biden than under Trump in a similar time period. But you gotta actually have a nuanced argument. Like, look at the numbers and why there are still so many deaths happening, where are the deaths happening, and wow, what a shocker. If you take a look at the numbers, blue states have far less deaths because people who identify as Democrats are far more likely to get vaccinated, and if they might have a breakthrough infection, they're not gonna get hospitalized or die from it. It's very unlikely that that happens. But you look at the numbers and most of the deaths are happening among unvaccinated individuals in red states. People who are in a conservative filter bubble, a conservative media bubble. And I'll give you more details into that in just a moment. But Cenk, why don't you jump in?
So I agree with you. She does deserve credit. It's the first time I've seen anyone in Democratic leadership even tweak Republicans. So congratulations, okay?
Do more of that.
Yeah, you're not gonna be surprised when I tell you I would've gone much further. I would've said, well, most of the overwhelming majority of the unvaccinated are the right wing. And Peter, they watch your channel and you misinform them on a daily basis, and hundreds of thousands have died because of the misinformation largely coming out of your channel. So don't ask me how we're doing when we're trying to get people to take the vaccine and you're trying super hard to make sure they don't take the vaccine. And honestly, you're killing your own voters. So I would ask you and the CEO of Fox News, and most especially the owner of Fox News, how you feel about killing your own viewers, okay? But of course, Democrats, oh my God, they would never do. This is as far as they'll ever go, but it is good. It's way better than any other Democrat. I can't believe, I mean, it's so, the exception proves the rule. Like, since the Biden White House never, ever, ever, ever fights back against Republicans. The one time they do a tweak, we're like, yes, yes,
yep,
right?
It's true, it's so true.
Like guys, look, we inserted the clips of Trump saying what he did in between Psaki's comments. Why didn't the Democrats run that 24/7 as an ad?
Totally.
So like, there's no, you can debate whether Republican voters, what their intelligence is, or if they're really stuck in a bubble, as Anna says, and I think they are, right? But you cannot debate Trump's intelligence. You saw it. We all saw it with our own eyes.
No, but Cenk, they can insert the UV light either through the skin or by some other means. Like by what? Like through your butthole? Like what are you talking about?
He's like, they could take the light. What did he say? The light into the body. They could put the light into the body. Okay, so look, if you're a dentist, well, actually you're in the medical field, you should know too. Let's pick another. You're an architect, okay? You're a smart guy, etc. But this is not your field, right? So you don't know that injecting bleach into your lungs is a bad idea. I'd be a little surprised by that, but I'm gonna let it go because it's not my job to rule your life, right? But when the president of the United States, in the middle of the worst pandemic of our lives, does not realize that you should not inject disinfectant into your body, he is incredibly stupid. Like one of the dumbest people I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I will allow it. That is correct.
Yes.
That is 100% correct.
And does everybody acknowledge, and that's the thing that why I rip my hair out. If everyone in the country said, oh no, obviously Trump's a moron. We all saw it with our own eyes. The disinfectant and the UV rays and all that stuff going into the body. And he talked about the lungs, he said the lungs, injecting the disinfectant into your lungs. Yes, obviously he's a moron, but I like him anyway. Okay, well that's a different conversation.
No, but that is the case. Like, I think that there is something lost in translation because to us, hearing the leader of the country say incredibly dumb and dangerous things is not appealing, not in favor of that. Like I would like a leader who knows what he's doing. I want to feel safe being led by someone, as president of the United States. However, there is a portion of the country that actually gets super turned off by, us calling him dumb or mocking his intelligence because they identify with him.
Yeah,
right?
no, I get that. I get that.
And so, but like that's where it's coming from.
No, but Anna, look, if it was that and that alone, I say, hey, look, it is what it is, and it's a democracy, by the way. Okay, if you like that, hey, maybe we should, maybe we should inject bleach, or hey, I like leaders who are dumb. We will get lost. It'll be an adventure. It'll be great. Like a bunch of people will die, but look, it'll be more fun and more adventurous, right? Okay, fine. That's
definitely not fun or adventurous.
Okay. No, not for me, but apparently for the right wing, they love it. Okay, that's fine. Okay, what is not fine is Anna. They do not agree to that. They think Trump's a genius. And part of the reason why they think that, and you think the mainstream media is tough on Trump, I think they barely laid a glove on him. So the mainstream media nonstop talks about Trump's strategy. And he's doing this as a distraction and his strategy for this. And how is he contemplating the attack on 24 and it's a strategy. What are you guys talking about? The guy's a blithering idiot. But they won't say it because, oh, that's offensive. Well, if the news is offensive, then go be a plumber or be an architect. It's a good job, but don't do news. The news is the news, whether you find it offensive or not. He did say those things. He is a moron. Anyone who doesn't say he's a moron is not in the news business. Oh, that's an opinion. Really? Is it? You think it's debatable? You think it's debatable. If you think it's just an opinion, you're saying it's debatable whether we should inject bleach into our lungs to cure coronavirus.
I just can't get over the UV light and how the UV light would be applied. Like that's my favorite. Yeah, I feel like that was really underplayed by the press. We should have focused on that more. Anyway, let's get back to the substance of the argument that we're hearing from the right in regard to COVID deaths. First of all, let me just note, hundreds of thousands of COVID deaths under any president is awful. And I'm not giving Biden like a round of applause. He has handled COVID better than Donald Trump. However, he's so terrified of doing anything that requires real leadership because it would offend the right wing. And to be sure, his mild vaccine mandates, which have all sorts of loopholes for private businesses, is now being challenged in the courts, right? So yes, the Republicans fight tooth and nail to ensure that as many Americans die from this virus as humanly possible. Great, but nonetheless, let me go to what the real numbers are, because if you look at the number of COVID deaths state by state, you see a difference between blue states and red states. So in October, 25 out of every 100,000 residents of heavily Trump counties died from COVID, more than 3 times higher than the rate in heavily Biden counties, meaning counties that voted for Biden. So in those blue counties, it's 7.8 per 100,000 deaths. October was the 5th consecutive month that the percentage gap between the death rates in Trump counties and Biden counties widened. So we're still seeing, not only are we still seeing more deaths in red states and red counties, that gap between blue counties and red counties, it continues to widen, meaning less Democratic voters are dying from COVID because they're getting vaccinated, and more Republican voters are dying because they refuse to get vaccinated. The vaccines are remarkably effective at preventing severe COVID, at almost 40% of Republicans or Republican adults remaining unvaccinated, compared with about just 10% of Democratic adults.
Look, they ruin it for everybody else in 1,000 different ways. You've got the immunocompromised, and we're all still having to wear masks, and the variants keep popping up because of the unvaccinated. But overall, I'm exhausted from trying to save your lives. And so you're dying at 3 times the rate that we are. Here we are ripping our hair out trying to save Republican lives. And they're like, oh yeah, hashtag freedom, I got the right to die. All right, okay, what am I gonna do? Go for it. So now to Biden, Anna, I think Biden has fallen flat on 1,000 things. If you watch A Minute of the Young Turks, you know how harsh I am on Joe Biden. And I will be in this context too in a second. But in terms of what he's doing to fight it, he is 100 times, 1,000 times better than Trump.
Yeah,
he's
I agree.
He's desperately trying to get people to take the vaccine to save their lives. Whereas Trump was like, oh, I don't care, man. Don't wear a stupid mask. Oh, who cares? Who cares?
Trump
right?
was all about the vaccine when he thought that it would help him politically. But once he realized that the vaccines wouldn't be developed in time for him to use it as a campaigning tool, then all of a sudden he doesn't care about the vaccine at all. Remember,
100%.
He wouldn't shut up about, what was it, Operation
Warp Speed.
Warp Speed, exactly. He wouldn't shut up about it, right?
And in fact, he tried that in a speech in Alabama after the election, right? That happened fairly recently. That's a point Anna's making. And when the crowd booed, he was like, oh, ditch it. He's like, oh, I meant freedom. Yeah, freedom not to do the vaccine.
Operation Freedom.
Okay, so, but Biden is terrible on getting the vaccine to the rest of the world. He says, oh yeah, I lifted the waiver. No, he did. He didn't do a single thing after that. And he could use just a smidge of his power to make sure that it gets to the rest of the world, because we're not even using it. Our right wingers won't take it. They won't take it, so give it to the rest of the world. You know how many people have died since our greedy drug companies have said that they're prioritizing their profits over people's lives? Across the world, because we will not share the vaccine, over 4 million people have died from COVID. Since we could have shared the vaccine, but chose not to.
Right.
That's on Biden. That's on Biden.
And this is about lifting the patent to allow other countries to manufacture the vaccine themselves. And Biden just said, yeah, I will allow it. But it takes more than that. It takes conversations with other world leaders who tend to be more favorable toward the drug companies than to their own citizens.
Yeah, no, he has to apply pressure, and he has chosen on purpose not to do that. And there's reporting that in internal conversations, he's basically winking and nodding to the other countries. Hey, listen, I just said we'd lift a waiver here as a PR move, okay? And the mainstream media in this country works for me. So they'll tell everybody I lifted the waiver and give me credit for saving people's lives, but then make sure that we're all supporting the drug companies and we don't actually lift the waiver. And that's what happened, and 4 million people died, okay? And a lot more are gonna die because our politicians are bought off by drug companies. And apparently they are in Norway and even other countries as well, because they're all, Europe on this issue, Europe normally is way better than us on many policies. On this, they're awful. They're despicable what they've done to protect drug companies. Last thing, and it's important and we shouldn't gloss over it. Trump clearly knew at a bare minimum that he might have been COVID positive because he tested COVID positive. He also tested COVID negative. But guys, if you get 2 tests, one says positive and the other one negative.
You don't get to pick the one you like the most.
And you all know that you're taking a risk. Like, here's how you know, right? If you tested positive and negative, and you didn't even bother doing a third test, would you go hug your grandparents if they were unvaccinated? I hope to God you wouldn't, right? Would you breathe all over them? Would you share the same food? I hope to God you wouldn't, right? And Trump, knowing that he might have coronavirus, which it turns out he did, right? Went to that debate with Joe Biden in an enclosed room. And this is important, this is important. He refused to get tested. They were supposed to get tested, and he said, oh, I showed up late, so I don't want to get tested.
He met with Gold Star families.
Oh yeah, I know, for right wingers, I guarantee you they think, oh, that's smart, man. Because then if he goes to the debate, then Biden gets COVID because Trump gets COVID and then Biden dies. Because that's the right way in this country. They would have loved it if he murdered his presidential opponent. I'm not joking. If Trump had given COVID to Biden and Biden had died, I guarantee you the majority of Republicans would have celebrated. I guarantee it. They've become a party of death here. It's a death cult. Okay, but do you guys care about anything you've ever said in your lives? Oh, support the troops. He went, and in that meeting with the Gold Star families, he actually literally hugged them and kissed them, knowing he might be COVID positive. Because it might have given him a little bit bad PR if people found out he was COVID positive. And so that was a super spreader event. The Rose Garden event for Amy Coney Barrett turned out to be a super spreader event. And people didn't know, they're like, wait, everybody was tested. Well, how could they have, so many people at that Rose Garden event gotten COVID? Well, guess the one person who refused to get tested before the event and who knew he might have COVID? Donald Trump. And he gave it to his own Republican colleagues and allies. On the other hand, he tried to murder his own vice president. They said hang Mike Pence, and he encouraged them, and he never apologized for it. The guy is a fascist. He's just, and the reason I get so animated about it is if we all agreed that he's a monster, but you like him anyway. We all agreed he's a moron, but you like him anyway. I could live with it. But when people deny obvious reality, if they said about your business partner or your best friend, people tried to murder him and hang him, and it was because of something you said, wouldn't you apologize to the guy? Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I never meant it. Oh, I can't believe they tried to kill you. Trump's like, no, you shouldn't have certified the elections.
It's amazing.
He's a monster through and through, and if you like him, what does that say about you? Thanks for watching The Young Turks, we really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.